Hi there, this is Max from Epic Recaps. Today I'm breaking down another amazing movie just for you. So sit back, relax, and let's get started. A group of prisoners in Russia is being taken to a prison far away. On the way, the guards stop at a gas station and give the prisoners 5 minutes to step out. One prisoner, number 864, doesn't come back on time. A guard finds him wandering and jokes, "Good thing we found you, or you might have frozen out here." The prisoner doesn't respond and quietly gets back in the van. At the prison, the new arrivals are mocked by the other inmates. Prisoner 864 meets his cellmate, who grumbles, "I hate sharing cells." "Me too," 864 replies. The cellmate warns him, "The last guy didn't last long." 864 smirks, "I'll be gone in 3 days anyway." While working out in the gym, two thugs try to take over the space. They tell 864 to leave, but he refuses. When they attack, he stands his ground and fights back. The guards break it up and drag him to meet the prison boss. The boss, Semyon, is a mob leader who controls his gang from prison. He asks, "Do you know who I am?" "Yes," 864 says calmly. "You're the leader of a group that's caused harm to many people." Semyon looks curious. "Who are you?" The prisoner smiles. "I'm Kraven, the hunter of men," he replies calmly. Semyon laughs it off, saying Kraven is a myth. Kraven leans closer. "I'll tell you this since you're stuck here. Your time has run out." After ending Semyon and his crew, Kraven decides it's time to leave. Using his animalistic strength, he breaks out of the prison with ease. He dodges bullets, scales walls, and disappears into a snowy storm. As he escapes, his cellmate shouts, "Told you, he will be out within 3 days." A wolf leaps at Kraven, but he stops it with just one sharp look, as if he has power over it. Once safe, he boards a plane and removes the tattoo on its neck. The story flashes back. Sergei and Dimitri were at their boarding school in the US when their teacher shared surprising news. Their dad, Nikolai, was coming. The brothers couldn't believe it. When Nikolai arrived, Sergei asked why he'd come. Nikolai said their mom has passed away. Dimitri asked if they'd attend her funeral, but Nikolai, cold and stern, said, "She doesn't deserve one because she ended herself. Honor must be earned." Sometime later, in Tanzania, Nikolai took his sons hunting. He smeared animal blood on Sergei's face, saying, "Men must be strong, only the weak feel fear." Sergei frowned, upset by his dad's harsh ways. Meanwhile, a girl named Calypso sat with her grandmother, reading tarot cards. The cards warned of danger ahead. Her grandmother gave her a special potion, saying, "This will protect you when the time comes." Back on the hunt, Sergei and Dimitri rested, sharing how much they missed their mom. Nearby, Nikolai spoke with other hunters. They mentioned how he clearly favored Sergei over Dimitri, but Nikolai didn't defend Dimitri. Their talk shifted when someone brought up the great lion, Tsar. Nikolai warned everyone to stay sharp. One hunter asked if he'd seen Tsar. "Only the devastation it leaves behind," Nikolai said. Another pointed out the lion was just surviving like they were. Nikolai added, "Hunting a legend makes you a legend." "Sure, Nikolai, but maybe start with Bigfoot first." Anyways, continuing the story, the next day, Alexei, a fellow criminal, approached Nikolai asking to be his partner. Nikolai dismissed him with harsh words, calling him weak and insignificant. He accused Alexei of interrupting while he was teaching his sons the ways of a true hunter. To Nikolai, Alexei was worthless. As they searched for the lion, Dimitri secretly hoped they'd find it, thinking it might keep Nikolai busy. Suddenly, Tsar appeared. Sergei wanted to act, but stopped when he saw the lion's eyes. It didn't feel like an enemy. Nikolai fired his weapon, hurting the lion and making it furious. The lion attacked Sergei, wounding him and dragging him away. Dimitri, scared, ran as Sergei yelled for him to escape. Far away, Calypso saw the lion and injured Sergei. She used her magical potion to save him. Sergei was taken to a hospital. Before leaving, Calypso handed him a tarot card. At the hospital, Sergei passed away, but came back moments later. The doctor called it a miracle. When Dimitri and Nikolai arrived, Nikolai wasn't proud of Sergei for surviving. Instead, he scolded him for failing to defeat Tsar. He decided Dimitri would return to school in the US, while Sergei stayed behind. Nikolai was determined to turn Sergei into his heir. In his room, Sergei found his mom's last letter. She apologized for leaving him, As he read, his father's voice suddenly called out. But when Sergei followed, it wasn't Nikolai. It was Dimitri. He had tricked Sergei by mimicking their father's voice. Dimitri was incredibly good at imitating others. Later, Nikolai lectured Sergei about strength. "Don't be weak like your mother or brother," he warned. Nikolai revealed he had hunted the great lion, Tsar, and kept it as a trophy. Sergei was furious. "I'd rather face the lion's fate than see it taken down like that," he shouted. Nikolai brushed off his anger, but Sergei didn't care. Just then, a hawk appeared at the window. Its sudden arrival gave Sergei an uneasy feeling. Sergei knew it was time to leave. He packed a few essentials: his passport, some money, Calypso's potion, and her tarot card. But as he tried to sneak away, he fell from a great height. Miraculously, he landed without a scratch, like a cat. Before leaving, Dimitri begged Sergei to stay. "I can't face father alone," he said. Sergei, torn but determined, promised, "This isn't goodbye forever." His plan was to return to their mom's homeland, a place filled with memories. Dimitri, feeling betrayed, refused to forgive him. "Just go," he said. Sergei eventually reached a port and convinced a captain to take him to Russia. Strange things happened during the journey. His sight and hearing improved drastically. One buffalo even stood guard as if protecting him. When Sergei arrived at his late mom's cabin, it was in ruins. With no other choice, he rested under a tree, thinking about his dad's harsh lessons and his mom's gentler ones. The next morning, Sergei made a spear and went hunting. That's when he realized something incredible. He had gained nearly superhuman strength and reflexes. But his thoughts shifted when he stumbled upon poachers who had just hunted buffaloes. Angry, Sergei confronted them. They threatened him, but Sergei stood his ground and made sure they didn't harm any more animals. He was becoming Kraven. The scene then shifts to present day. Sergei said goodbye to a traveling companion who had helped him along the way. "Call me if you ever need help," she said before leaving. Sergei was alone again when he received an unexpected message. It was from Dimitri, who had mimicked their father's voice perfectly. Dimitri mentioned his upcoming birthday and hoped Sergei would come. While resting in the woods, Sergei was startled awake by the sound of a gunshot. He followed the noise and found poachers hunting. Watching them hunt for money made Sergei furious. He warned them to stop, but they attacked instead. Sergei fought back fiercely. He stopped every poacher except one, who managed to escape. The lone poacher ran to his boss's office, panicked. He rambled about how their group had been overpowered by a strange man, but exaggerated his role in the fight to seem braver. As he finished, the boss's chair spun slowly. Sergei was sitting there. He gave a sly smile and said, "Surprise." Before the poacher could react, Sergei took care of him once and for all. Meanwhile, in New York, Calypso got terrible news. Her close friend Samantha, a lawyer fighting for justice, had been hit by a criminal named Semyon. At Samantha's funeral, Calypso gave an emotional speech. From a distance, Kraven watched silently. After the service, Kraven approached Calypso to offer his condolences. He reminded her they had met before and revealed he'd taken care of the man behind Samantha's tragedy. Pulling out a tarot card Calypso had given him years ago, he said, "Thank you for saving me." Surprised, Calypso explained the card was from her grandmother's set and wondered why she'd given it to him. Kraven said her grandmother must have sensed he needed it. Later, at home, Calypso researched Kraven. She discovered he was a mysterious vigilante who hunted dangerous criminals with brutal efficiency. For years, no one had uncovered his true identity or where he operated. When they met again, Calypso noticed the tiger fang Kraven wore and asked about it. He explained that he used whatever tools he had and turned them into weapons. She asked why he went after Semyon, and Kraven said it was his way of repaying her for what she'd done for him. Calypso didn't want his gratitude but admitted that Semyon's fate was deserved. Calypso boldly asked if Kraven was like his father, a known villain. Kraven shook his head. "I chose to leave that life," he said. "Instead, I focus on removing dangerous people to make the world safer." He added that, although he's estranged from his brother, he still watches over him. Calypso admitted she'd left her law career in New York for a quieter life in London. But when Kraven handed her a list of dangerous individuals, she felt intrigued. He told her, "Justice sometimes needs unconventional methods," and asked her to join him. Calypso promised to think about it. Elsewhere, Alexei was playing with his dog when a worker brought urgent news. Calmly, Alexei revealed he already knew. Kraven had eliminated one of his competitors in a Russian prison. Describing Kraven, Alexei said, "He's swift, cunning, and incredibly strong, quickly becoming a real threat." Alexei's worker nervously reported that everyone on the hunter's list eventually meets their end. Then he added, "You might be on that list too." Furious, Alexei ordered a meeting with Semyon's former associates to consolidate power. At the meeting, Alexei announced he was taking over Semyon's operations, but only one person could partner with him. The dealers laughed and turned on him, opening fire. What they didn't know was that Alexei had a serum enhancing his mutation, giving him Rhino-like armor. Bullets bounced off him. Calmly, Alexei repeated his offer. This time, one dealer understood, eliminating the others to secure his place by Alexei's side. That night, Dimitri performed at his bar, wowing the crowd by mimicking famous voices. His father, Nikolai, watched proudly, calling him a chameleon. Nikolai discussed business with one of Semyon's men, offering protection. But the man, now loyal to Alexei, betrayed Nikolai and attacked. Nikolai and his men swiftly fought back, leaving only him and Dimitri standing. Afterward, Nikolai scolded Dimitri for not defending their turf. "We don't need entertainers," he growled. "We need fighters." Meanwhile, Alexei learned Nikolai had survived the attack and started crafting a new plan. Soon after, Alexei received a video of the hunter in action. To everyone's shock, they realized the hunter was Nikolai's son, Sergei, now calling himself Kraven. They decided to hand this information over to a notorious bounty hunter known as the Foreigner. The Foreigner, famous for handling tough targets, arrived at a Russian prison and was briefly detained. In seconds, he overpowered his captor. By the count of 3, the officer was subdued. The Foreigner could hypnotize anyone with just a look. Elsewhere, Sergei celebrated Dimitri's birthday. At a fancy restaurant, Sergei casually exposed a man cheating on his girlfriend by smelling another woman's perfume on him. Over dinner, Dimitri opened up about their father's harshness, calling himself a disgrace. Nikolai arrived unexpectedly, gifting Dimitri a fine bottle of wine. Though tension lingered, Nikolai encouraged Sergei to shake his hand. The night ended with a toast, where Nikolai reminded them of the importance of family unity. A few hours later, Sergei helped a very drunk Dimitri back to his apartment. In his sleep, Dimitri told Sergei he forgave him for leaving and expressed hope for their relationship. Unable to sleep from the noise and haunting memories, Sergei spent the night in the park. The next morning, Sergei returned to Dimitri's apartment, only to find his brother missing. Dimitri had been kidnapped. Sergei tried to rescue him, but was unable to succeed. In desperation, Sergei turned to Calypso for help. He gave her the little info he had, and she promised to contact a friend who could track down the kidnappers. Sergei then went to his father, Nikolai, and asked if he knew who took Dimitri. Nikolai shrugged, saying he had too many enemies to know. Soon after, Sergei received a box with Dimitri's finger inside. Furious, he demanded to know the ransom. Nikolai said they wanted 20 million, but refused to pay, calling it a sign of weakness. He even suggested Dimitri might already be gone. Sergei mocked him for being so cold-hearted. Dimitri woke up to find Alexei the Rhino towering over him. Alexei revealed his real target was Sergei, whom he believed was dangerous. To prove it, Alexei showed Dimitri a video confirming Sergei was the legendary Kraven the Hunter. Dimitri had always thought Kraven was just a myth. Alexei warned that if your name was on Kraven's list, you wouldn't escape. As Dimitri ate lunch, Alexei reflected on how everyone, Nikolai included, had always treated him like a coward. Determined to change, Alexei had undergone an experimental procedure by a biochemist, Miles Warren. The treatment transformed Alexei, making him stronger and giving him his rhino-like armor. Feeling unstoppable, Alexei offered Dimitri a deal: betray his father and join him. Dimitri refused to turn on his family. Seeing no use for him, Alexei decided to eliminate him. But before Alexei could act, he got an alert. The hunter was near. Suddenly, the elevator doors opened and the Foreigner stepped out. Effortlessly, he took down Alexei's men, just for fun. Surprised, Alexei asked why he was after Kraven. The Foreigner explained Kraven had defeated his mentor, one of the best assassins, and now he wanted revenge. Meanwhile, Sergei and Calypso visited his late mother's house nearby. A leopard playfully pounced on Sergei, and they laughed as they entered. Inside, Calypso examined Kraven's arsenal and found attempts to replicate the serum. She warned Sergei that only her grandmother knew how to make it, and reminded him his luck wouldn't last forever. At the same time, the foreigner showed Alexei a specialist serum designed to stop Kraven. Alexei called Kraven, claiming they should team up for Dimitri's safety. Kraven refused, so Alexei sent his men after him. He easily overpowered them. During the fight, the foreigner injected Kraven with a secret weapon that caused terrifying hallucinations of spiders. Just as the foreigner prepares to finish him off, Calypso shoots him with an arrow. She saves Kraven with her special potion, again. She whispers, "Legends never die." Sergei, now stronger, grabbed his spear and faced Alexei. Rhino transformed into his monstrous form, and the two fought fiercely. Sergei used his wits and Alexei's weaknesses to bring him down. As Alexei fell, Sergei demanded to know who sent the prison video. Alexei admitted the mastermind had been in front of him all along. Dimitri, enraged, tried to attack Alexei, but Sergei stopped him, saying, "This isn't who you are." In his final moments, Rhino regretted ever getting involved with this family. In the snowy north of Russia, Nikolai felt his son's presence nearby. When Sergei appeared, Nikolai asked, "How did you find me?" Sergei smirked. "I'm a hunter." Sergei demanded to know why Nikolai betrayed him by revealing his secret to Alexei. Nikolai calmly admitted that he had always known Sergei was Kraven the Hunter, and was proud of what he'd become. Nikolai revealed his plan. He sent Alexei after Sergei, knowing Sergei would handle him. With Alexei out of the way, Nikolai could grow his empire. Now he believed they could finally be a family again. But Sergei rejected him. "I could have stopped you years ago," he said, "but I didn't, because you were my father. Not anymore." Just then, a bear wandered into the camp. Sergei stepped back, letting the bear get into the groove with his father. 1 year later, Sergei celebrated Dimitri's birthday. Dimitri seemed like a new man. He had left his troubled past behind, and now worked with a doctor who helped him change. "I'm fearless now," Dimitri said proudly. Nikolai's former allies worked for Dimitri, and he showed Sergei his new skill. He could change his face. With ease, he transformed into a smaller version of his brother. "They call me Chameleon," Dimitri said with a grin. Before Sergei left, Dimitri told him that father left him something. Back at the mansion, Sergei found a letter from Nikolai. In it, his father admitted he didn't regret his past, but was grateful to have a son like Sergei. With the letter was a leather jacket made from lion skin. Sergei ran his fingers over the material, then put it on. As the wind swept through the room, the hunter sat on his throne, ready for whatever came next. If you enjoyed this recap, be sure to check out the channel for more reviews and movie recaps. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and hit that bell icon for all the latest updates. And if you want more movie recaps like this, stay tuned and keep watching.